A very good day to you and welcome to the Minister's Inbox. Here is where we take a look at the amazing things that the ministers of the current government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu are doing. The ministers in recent times have committed to ensuring that the citizens are primarily informed about every step they take. Why is that? Because in any democracy, the citizens must know, and it's in their knowledge that they can exert their influence of the power that the democracy gives. Democracy is government of the people, for the people, by the people, and that is why, with the renewed hope agenda, no citizen will be left behind when it comes to information. Today, on the Minister's Inbox, we're taking a look at the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, headed by the Honourable Minister, Dr. Doris Uzoka-Anite. Dr. Doris Uzoka-Anite will be discussing with us today on the Presidential Grants and Loan Scheme. My name is KemKem. There's more after this. Do stay with us. A very good day to you. This is the Minister's Inbox, where we take a look at what the President, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is doing with the ministers in his cabinet. My name is Kemi Ashekun. My loved ones call me KemKem. And today we're taking a look at something very important. After all, what's the best thing to wake up to? You guessed right, a credit alert. A few days back, many Nigerians woke up to a credit alert courtesy the federal government led by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But the minister who coordinated and ensured that this money got to nano businesses is none other than Dr. Doris Uzoka-Anite, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. Of course, you know that when there's no money in your pocket, you feel sick. So don't ask too many questions on why a medical doctor, trained medical doctor, as a matter of fact, trained by the prestigious University of Benin, moved from taking care of your health to taking care of your finances. A very good day to you, Doctor.
Hi, KemKem. Nice to see you. Nice to be here.
Thank you. It's good to have you in the studio and on the Minister's Inbox. You've been doing a lot. You've gone through medicine, you've gone through philanthropy. As a matter of fact, you've done human resources, but now you are a financial expert, and even with a certificate to back that up, CFA. You are the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, and you treated many Nigerians recently to 50,000 Naira grants, because I can imagine you did it through the night and they woke up to this alert. Let's take a look at these nano businesses. What exactly is your ministry trying to do with the infusion?
That money is actually a presidential grant from the president himself, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and we just helped to distribute the money. And you're right, it's actually the ministry. So the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, working with one of the agencies under the ministry, BOI, is responsible for executing the mandate of the president. In this particular case, distributing the presidential grants as well as the loans to MSMEs and to manufacturers.
We'll come to the loans. Let's still pay attention to the grants. For some people, when they got the 50,000 alert, they will be thinking, it may be a grant, but when am I going to pay back? Government has never given me anything for free.
This is absolutely for free. And if you realize the reason why the president actually came up with this initiative through his magnanimity and compassion was due to the removal of the petroleum subsidy. And he deemed it fit because he realized that a lot of people all of us depend on petrol for either transporting our goods and services or even our movement to work. Or even powering our I better pass my neighbor.
Absolutely.
The small generators that actually fuel or light up our businesses. So, and the increase in price of PMS due to the subsidy removal was going to affect businesses, and it's actually a major economic shock. And this is the reason why he decided to give the grant to support the nano businesses.
What's a nano business?
So a nano business is a business that employs less than 2 employees, 1 or less actually. Okay. But more importantly is the classification by SMEDAN on their total annual turnover, which is less than 3 million per annum. Okay, so it's actually a really tiny business. For example, you have the vulcanizers, you have the traders that are like roasting corn, those who are hawking. Those are small, tiny businesses.
Let's look at the time frame between when applications were made and when the money was disbursed. For some people, it seemed as if it took too long. It appeared that the fuel subsidy had been removed since almost forever, but then the money did not come until very recently when you gave them the alert in the morning.
Actually, well, with every government intervention, there's a process. And for this particular one, especially with funds, you have to undergo very rigorous process internally before you can begin to disburse. And there were a few requirements that were changed. I mean, when we started, we required just the BVN, an account number, which had to go through a verification process. And then along the line, we realized we needed to also add the NIN. And then we had to go back to the beneficiaries and ask them to update their records on the system with their NIN. And that took some time. So, and then when you get this, it goes through a whole lot of verification. We even do physical verification where we actually go to see that these people actually exist. So it's a very rigorous and very intensive process. And all of this is one, to improve transparency, accountability, and most importantly, to ensure fairness. So for this presidential grant, it's for 1,000 people per local government.
774 local governments. So you're looking at 774,000 people.
At the minimum, yes.
How many have been disbursed so far?
So far, we've done more than almost 150,000.
And so everywhere is bubbling like this. Yes, yes. So by the time you do like half of this, about 300 and something thousand,
we think we should be able to hit at least 500,000 by the end of this week we're coming into.
By the end of April?
We have a daily target actually. And because we've collected the data, we're doing the verification. Though the process is, because it's a mixture of physical and digital verification. And there's also delay in pushing out monies through the financial system. Now, when you're going to disburse funds and you're passing it through a payment system, it also takes a bit of time. So you see people are going to continue to get the alert.
Okay. Are the grants still open for application or is closed?
No, we've closed the grant. It was open for a very long time. And we had to close because then it's only then that we can start doing data mining.
Okay. Now, some people would say that you mentioned roadside hawkers, you mentioned vulcanizers, you mentioned quite a number of other people who should have access or who ought to have access to these grants, but they would say that many of them may not be computer literate.
No, we don't require your level of literacy. It's a grant.
What I mean by that is, in the process of their application, were you able to actually get down to these people?
Yeah, we went down to the grassroots. We actually got the involvement of state governors, local government chairmen, the MSME associations, like the small cooperatives. We got them involved to also help their members to register. And some places, they opened offices to actually help people to register. So, and for you to even have an NIN, and you have a bank account, you must be able to register some of your businesses, at least to receive or to pay in whatever collections you get for the day into your bank account.
With this infusion of 50,000 naira into the economic system in Nigeria, what are you expecting, as the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment? What are you expecting to be the resultant effect of the monies that have gone in?
We expect to see a reflation of the local economies. Most of these businesses are residing within local government. So when you see the multiplier effect, the economic multiplier effect of that 50,000 within a community, they will buy food to eat. So they are creating job and employment for those who are selling food. And they are also going to inject some of those capital into procuring their inventory. Either it's to pay to those who they're owing, or it's to acquire some of the materials that they need, or raw materials, or whatever inventory that they use for their businesses. So those suppliers of those inventory is also going to be benefiting. So that's the multiplier effect that we see and that we expect to see at the microeconomic levels within the communities.
Are there metrics to measure this? Will there be metrics to measure this?
Yeah, so we're coming up with different ways to actually monitor and evaluate the impact, and do an impact assessment of this fund at the nano level, and that's at the microeconomic level. And of course, also measure the impact of the loans itself.
Now you mentioned loans. Some businesses will say, since the removal of fuel subsidy, we're not getting as much money in our businesses as possible and all of that. And I know that this is a two-phase, or should I say three-phase thingy from the federal government. You have the grants, which you're on with. And for you to know, if you haven't received yours yet, yours is on the way. She's distributing candies in terms of money. So when you get your money, thank the federal government, but also remember Dr. Doris Uzoka-Anite.
Thank the president.
Let's take a look at loans. The president is interested in business activities, in ensuring that businesses have money to move their businesses around. And as the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, there will be loans for MSMEs and manufacturers. How much in loans are we looking at?
Total in loans is 150 billion naira, 75 billion to MSMEs and another 75 to industries and manufacturers.
What's the moratorium period that we're looking at?
Okay, so the MSME loan is for working capital support and it's payable in 2 years. Okay. While the loan to the manufacturers is payable in 5 years.
All right, you're still watching the Minister's Inbox, and we're taking a look at the loans for the MSMEs now, and of course the manufacturers. So it's not just the nano businesses that will be given something from the president. Even manufacturers and MSMEs will get a chance to get their hands on the pie. However, they will be doing it in a loan format. We'll be looking at that with the Honourable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. Loans for MSMEs. What is the moratorium period? How much are we looking at?
The bucket size for the loans is 150 billion naira, 75 for MSME and another 75 billion for manufacturers and industries. That's the large industries. The MSME loan is a working capital support, maximum of 1 million naira working capital support.
Per company?
Per company.
Okay.
And then it's a 3-year loan with a 1-year moratorium.
Okay.
Single digit interest rate of 9%.
9%.
For the large manufacturers, it's from 1 million all the way to 1 billion, depending on what your requirement is. Okay. So, people will come with their different requirements for capital. Remember, it's a loan. And usually loans are redeemed against your cash flow. Yeah. So it depends on what cash flow you have that determines and what you actually need the loan for. That will determine what you're going to ask for.
So that's going to go through another series of vetting.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
However, are the applications open?
Yes, the applications are open.
So people can still apply?
They can continue to apply. So from Monday to the 2nd of April, all loan applicants, whether it's for the MSME working capital support or to the manufacturers and large industries, can begin to go to BOI offices, BOI Bank of Industry offices nationwide to begin to do their verification and getting ready for the loan disbursement.
Will they have to pay anything? You know how it is sometimes people say, oh, we're going to help you apply, so you're going to have to pay a token or all of that. Is that?
No, these manufacturers are very informed players. They understand what to do. I do not think that they need anyone to help them to apply. This won't be the first time a manufacturer who is having a turnover of 250 million, for example, will be applying for a loan. Okay. So I expect that they will be able to do go through the whole loan process on their own. And there is no requirement to pay for anything, to solicit for any sort of support. They just need to walk into the office of the Bank of Industry. The officers have been trained. We've gone through the training program with them, and they are also equipped to be able to handle the crowd that would come. They know what to look for, what documents are required, what sort of verification that every loan applicant has to go through. And then they take it from there.
At the end of the day, when these loans are disbursed, what are the attendant effect or the resultant effects you're expecting to see in the economy?
This is a major impactful intervention by the president because of the economic activity that we are going to see. Recently there's been actually a credit crunch. Most banks haven't been lending because of also the economic conditions of the country. So that credit crunch, this loan is coming in to take away that credit crunch. And so it's going to release money straight into the business entities. That helps them to then buy whatever inventory they need, the machineries they need, the equipment that they need. Hire people, create employment opportunities. A lot of companies probably are not functioning optimally because they don't have access to this credit facility. Okay. So this is just going to take away one of those bottlenecks that we've seen.
This speaks to the president's social investment program that was in his manifesto. I think on page 63 of the Renewed Hope manifesto speaks about the social investment program and all of that. But somehow your ministry has been able to do it in such a transparent way so as to remove all hitches and all what the Nigerians call magu-magu from it. But in any case, I'd like you to speak more about this social investment program of Mr. President and why he is passionate about it and what difference he intends to make with it.
I can't speak for all of the social investment programs. I can speak for the MSME funds and the grants that we are currently handling. I'm aware that the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs is handling the rest of the social investment programs and being coordinated at the moment by the Coordinating Minister of the Economy and Minister of Finance. I am aware of a couple of the programs that are within that bucket.
For your own ministry, what's the end goal, so to speak?
For us, it's a direct intervention into the manufacturing sector, into the development of support for MSMEs. So, we anchor the industries. Whether you're a micro, nano, to the largest industry, we look after you. So government realized that because of the credit crunch, and like I mentioned, the inflationary pressure of an increase in PMS subsidy, businesses were going to suffer. So in order to cushion that effect, it's the reason why we're giving a single-digit interest rate, a 2-year moratorium for a loan of this size, and also making it available nationwide to ensure that it hits or gets to the communities where these businesses are residing. Yeah. And it's also speaking to a wide range of sectors. So not just one sector, a wide range of sectors. So
it doesn't matter how many people apply for these loans?
It doesn't matter how many. As long as when we hit the 75 billion naira and the money is expended, the loan stops.
Is this a one-off from the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment, or is it something that will be done maybe next year?
So at the moment, this is the only one that we've gotten. So in the magnanimity of the president, if he determines that there's also a need to continue to cushion the economy with more intervention funds like this, then we're going to see a lot more coming.
A lot more coming.
Yes.
Of course, the disbursement of the grants, many can testify, has been very transparent. More grants are coming. You have to hold your breath if you applied, and you will get your grant soon if you have verified yourself. However, for the loans, remember the minister said, from the 22nd of April, you get a chance to apply directly. You can go to all offices of the Bank of Industry across the nation. However, if you want to do it from the comfort of your home on the internet, just log on to www.fedgrantandloan.gov.ng, and the step-by-step processes is all there. Remember, this is free and fair on a first-come, first-served basis. No mago-mago. All right, you mentioned inflationary pressure a little while back while we were talking about the loans getting into the disbursement and what the president was trying to do, with that. It appears that the prices in Nigeria do not follow the law of gravity, because they say whatever goes up must come down. But when it comes to Nigerian prices, regardless of dollar falling and every other thing falling, it appears that it keeps rising or stays at the same point it rose to when the dollar rose. Let's take a look at that. As the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, what is government doing about it?
We've also noticed the impact of high prices, and we observed a galloping inflation in especially food. And it was attributed to a number of factors. Okay. So I will name some of those factors that affected food prices. Last year was an election year. Sure. Now, if you recall, there was the Naira redesign policy that went in. Yeah. Then there was the cash crunch, and people didn't have access to cash at the ATM. And then there was also the mopping up of cash against election. Now, most farmers are paid, they're day laborers, and they're paid in cash. Sure. So when there was no access to cash, we noticed that that's food production suffered, farming suffered. And then we went in, and then we had the subsidy removal, and then we had the spike in FX. And so all of that combined factors led to the prices that we saw. But now we've managed to tame the FX, the sliding FX. So FX is come down from 1,900 to 1,000 levels now, which is a major significant improvement in that particular index. And we've also seen an injection of cash by the CBN into the ATMs and banks so people can actually access cash. I've also seen a lot of intervention by government in agricultural sector. Then you're seeing these interventions to help support and cushion the inflationary pressure from PMS. But with all of that intervention, we've also noticed that prices are still going higher and higher.
Or not even dropping at all?
Well, to be fair, some of this may take some time to drop. And, you know, some sellers will tell you that, oh, they bought at this price and they have to have a replacement cost. But we do not entirely agree. And this is the reason why the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has now been mandated. It's also a commission or an agency in my ministry, has started going out now to understand why and to enforce price behaviors that should commemorate with the economic improvement that we've seen.
Okay, let me take you to one of the things that many Nigerians, you know, have complained about. As soon as the dollar was spiking, the prices were spiking.
In fact, the prices were galloping.
The prices were galloping. However, the prices have not come down the way the prices have not come down the way they rose when the dollar was rising. And when you speak to the people, the sellers at that time, even a vegetable seller will tell you, oh, it's dollar, what anybody buying rice is dollar. And it's like once they hear dollar has risen to 1.5 today, the prices go up. 1.7 today, the prices go up. 1.9 today, the prices go up. But we haven't seen that attendant reduction. And some people are of the opinion that we probably need a price control mechanism or agency or something. I don't know.
That's the reason. That was what I was saying, that the FCCPC regulates, you know, the market behaviors of sellers to ensure that they do not exploit consumers. Okay. So they actually regulate consumer protection. And it's a mandate. This is one of their mandates. And they've started going out. You saw what they've started going out to do. Yeah. Now, like I said, the dollar coming down or the strengthening of the naira, you will begin to see the effect also. Some of them you can see immediately. Some will still take a bit of time.
Nigerians may be wondering, how long would it take before we get back to what we used to be?
So with the enforcement that we're doing now, that enforcement is so necessary because, like you said, a lot of the retailers, either wholesalers, retailers, even manufacturers, want to continue to peg at the high price because it's more beneficial to them. Yeah. But it's now our responsibility to ensure that we can force them to moderate those excesses and bring down the price or bring down their prices to a level that is actually protective. Okay. Or that is not exploitative.
Let's take a look at the use of technology with this price regulation. So
we have physical visitation of markets, physical monitoring of actual markets. So we're going to the formal markets, the manufacturers, the suppliers, the supermarkets, and informal markets. So we're going everywhere just to do price monitoring, and then engaging with the associations, with the even transporters, the unions, every participant in that whole value chain to ascertain what is wrong, and also to pass the message that they have to regulate. They must bring down their prices because now government is watching. In some cases, we actually confiscated some goods that were substandard. Now, consumer protection using price is not just monitoring prices. They also monitor quality and quantity. You find the behavior of some manufacturers that will say that they're producing a 1 kg. Even market people, you go to buy one olodo of beans or rice, but they've stuffed the bottom with some stuff that if you're not actually careful and watching, they've actually shortchanged you. Absolutely. So that's quantity. Then we've seen situations where they sell to you substandard goods and products, all in the name to save or to profit from it, profiteering. So it's not just the price itself. It's the three components that we can use to describe the value for money that the consumers should be getting. So we are actually after ensuring that the consumers are also getting their value for money, that they are not shortchanged, they're not exploited, and that they're getting the right value for money. Now, for us to be able to do that effectively, I mean, in addition to we need the cooperation of the citizens as well.
How? What do you require the citizens to do? Because I'm certain many of them will be ready.
So this is where technology actually comes in. Okay. So where you have a greater engagement with the citizens via technology. So we are now going to be publishing prices of different commodities in different parts of Nigeria online. I'm making it available for citizens to download free of charge, to have on their mobile app. So you can, if you're going to buy anything and you just want to have a quick price check, it can give you a quick average of what's obtainable. So you know where, and that helps us also to monitor what's going on. But you know, when we do monitoring, it's usually a spot check or a spot assessment. But the consumers who go to these markets, whether it is a local market or a supermarket, go on a regular basis. If they feed us also information of the prices that they are seeing, that helps us. That's the support and encouragement that we need, the citizen engagement, the citizen feedback mechanism that we need to help us to actually enforce better.
This is superlatively innovative. And of course, you do know that a democracy is only strengthened by the commitment of the citizens. Now, the Honourable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment has put the power in your hands. That is, for you to report actively the prices of goods around your area. But then how do they do this? Is this just a random thing? Or is there something they can log on to or download or something?
Like I said, the FCCPC and with the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment and the Bank of Industry, we actually formed a committee. So the FCCPC has recently now provided hotlines that citizens can call in, as well as email at the moment, pending when we launch the online platform and the mobile app.
That you have scrolling on your screen right now, the hotlines and the email, and then there will be an app. It's your responsibility as a citizen to deepen our democracy. So, Honourable Minister, you are talking about, a tripartite committee of...
How we came up with this, so it's, we had to set up a committee. It's FCCPC's responsibility squarely. Okay. But working with Bank of Industry, the MD of Bank of Industry, who's an economist, he's a world-class economist, was able to pull together the Nigerian Economic Society. And it's a group of economists across all universities, from their professors to their students, to also help us with price monitoring. So they will be enforcing and supporting what FCCPC is doing to ensure that we have that spread and that reach in almost every market. Now, with the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment also in the committee, so actually put together a committee, and I said this committee is going to be looking after ensuring that consumers are protected and that they get value for money for whatever is going on. So that's the tripartite
committee. And the good thing about this is you as a citizen can help government so that government can help you. In any case, let's take a look at...
So, but we are happy to co-opt market associations to help us also to enforce. So that's also part of the reason why we're engaging the market unions and the market associations. Okay. Because if everybody feels that they are responsible and they feel a part, that inclusion, that inclusiveness is also some of the, the president always talks about inclusion and inclusiveness. And you can take inclusion in any way you want it. So this is one of our inclusive approach to governance. And here we're talking price governance, price monitoring. So when we also include them as we expand, it also helps them to get the reassurance that we will support them in some of the challenges that they have that have also caused increase in maybe local prices and all of that. So we will see an expansion of this committee and with the whole objective of ensuring that, we actually get the right prices to the citizens.
You mentioned the FCCPC launching an app. How soon is that going to happen?
I think within the next 2 weeks, we should see an app being launched. First of all, there will be the online app, that will be launched and then followed by the app. Okay. And as soon as it's launched, we're going to be making a lot of noise about it for people to see. And when the retailers and the manufacturers, when everybody now knows that everybody has become a price police. So we call it price police.
Yes.
If I go to your shop and I think that your price is too high, and I will report you. Now that reinforces the right kind of behavior. So that's a self-regulatory mechanism that we want to see.
Absolutely.
So people should, the retailers should actually self-regulate themselves and not wait to be regulated by regulators. And that's where we just hope that we get to the point where we really see that free market, because government's role is to create the free market environment and to support it with regulation.
Okay. We've been speaking with the Honourable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Doris Uzoka-Anite, quite passionate about the health of individuals, even though she's using it from the financial aspect this time around. In any case, Doctor, let's take a look at balancing market freedom and consumer protection. This is not a socialist or a communist economy, right? But then how do you then balance the two? I'm free to sell, free buyer, free seller, but then we still don't want price gouging. How are you balancing that?
A free market, like you said, is where you have a lot of sellers and a lot of buyers, and they determine their own prices. Well, in this case, in the context where we've seen a lot of collusion. We've seen unions and associations colluding. We've seen deliberate acts of exploitation by the sellers and the retailers, and that is no longer free market. So now, where free market exists, if you always notice, let's use the case of the US, their regulators are strong. They have very strong government institutions that actually forces the regulation and forces stringent penalties for defaulters.
Absolutely.
So in a developing economy where the free market itself is not strongly formed yet, we even need stronger government regulation to force behaviors, like I just mentioned to you. We don't set prices. We're not going to ask the marketers to set a price here or there. So price regulation is not what we're doing. But what we're saying is, if your market price is way above what is expected, given your cost structure and every other business structure that affects the price for that particular product, then it should also be sold within a reasonable markup and within a reasonable range.
How soon should citizens expect that all of these interventions come to play, especially with their pockets? They want to make sure that the 50,000 grants you gave them doesn't all go into the wind. How soon should citizens expect this?
We already started, and citizens are already beginning to benefit from the efforts of the FCCPC and the committee in reducing or forcing a correction of the market behaviors that we've seen. And then with the support of the citizens, through the hotlines that we're providing, email feedback from the citizens, and of course when we launch the app and the online website, that will also increase the channels for communication, for contact, for feedback. We expect to see this take off very quickly. Usually when anything starts, it starts slow. But once we gather the momentum, I expect that within the next couple of weeks, we should see prices moderate. And remember, I mentioned self-regulation.
Absolutely.
When the sellers know that these people are watching them, they will also begin to self-regulate. And when we say we're monitoring price, we are total and we are complete in dissecting the economic issues around each business to determine what the fair price should be. And then encourage manufacturers and sellers to work within that framework. So it's going to be a continuous engagement. A lot of detailed economic analysis by the economists that we have, by the agencies that we have with the committee, and then as well as having the citizen engagement and feedback. So I'm sure that within a couple of weeks, we should see prices moderating.
Absolutely.
And our inflation hopefully should be dropping from 33.2%
to much lower.
Well, much lower, and hopefully we will hit the single-digit inflation target of Mr. President.
Well, this has been the Minister's Inbox, and you have listened to Dr. Doris Uzoka-Anite, the Honourable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, a woman who's passionate about ensuring that your pocket does not leak. And you can tell from all that she has said, there's a whole lot more coming from that ministry. And you have to keep your fingers crossed and your ears to the ground, because who knows? You just might be waking up to a credit alert very soon. Honourable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your service to the nation.
Thank you.
And I know there is a whole lot more that you're doing. I know of the talent exportation. I know of the, the super. There's so much else
that
you're doing.
That we're doing.
And we really cannot wait to let the public know of some of these interventions. Well done.
Thank you.
And on behalf of all Nigerians, we say thank you.
Thank you too. And on behalf of the President, I say thank you to all Nigerians.
Of course, our hopes will be renewed. That's the mandate of Mr. President. And you need to keep your fingers crossed, your ears to the ground, and ensure that you partake in the process. It's up to you, the citizen, to make Nigeria a better place. One man cannot do it, and one woman cannot do it either. But all Nigerians can agree that we want our hope renewed, and indeed it will be. My name is Kemi. I shake on my loved ones. As you've heard the minister call me KemKem. Have a great day.